Okay, there was a man who entered a local paper's pun contest. He sent in 10 different puns in the hope that at least one of the puns would win. Unfortunately, no pun intended. And now this game can only improve from here. And I think it will because we've got two great players today. Pylon on the high ground for our Protoss player. He's going for that Reaper block position. But as I always say, it exposes your tech to tank fire. Safe to say that our Protoss player is aware of that. It's a calculated risk and he means to take it. Gate goes down and it's going to be a gate and go. Oh, and there's an SCV out in the field as well. That's before the racks. I better get those intros going. Our Gerrman Protoss player is a media franchise by DreamWorks. But he's substituted a shooting tube that fires projectiles. He is GunGFuBanDa! His French Terran monosyllabic opponent is none other than Team Liquid Clem! Oh, Clem's gonna pull off an engineering bay block. We've seen him do this before. He really likes this. And while I really love the Protoss, right now I feel like they all deserve it. Conversely, GunGFu's probe is behaving very respectfully. Oh, and Clem just gangs up on him and kills it and gets the first blood. We haven't had a first blood that quick in a long time, people. Clem is so boss. Now GunGFu is desperately trying to get revenge. That SCV is down to just 5 hit points. He needs one more tap on it and he can equalize this thing. But Clem is just taunting him. Oh, GunGFu zones him out. He's not going to let him escape. He goes back up into the main. Sorry, there's like really critical build action happening here, but I'm just like focused on this worker battle. Can Clem get that SCV out? GunGFu can't get the kill, but he won't let him escape either. I guess if you can trap him in there long enough, he'll get his adept out. If GunGFu is being driven half as... Oh, he gets it! And as an added bonus, that eBay is just about done. Clem does get the cancel. GunGFu with the Nexus. Meanwhile, Clem's almost got his factory finished. Notice he never even bothered to make a Reaper. He's already putting on his reactor. Which, in fact, is just about prepared for the switch. There it goes. And he's started his natural at his natural, and he's adding a second racks. Protoss is chrono-boosting warp gates. He has not made a tech choice. That is unusual. It's not like Clem is scouting him at the moment. He's actually spending his money on a second warp gate. Definitely a sign that GunGFu intends to get aggressive early. Oh, and there's a proxy pylon. It's gonna be a gateway rush, presumably with stalkers given what he's made so far. His adept is gonna show up and shade in for a little advanced battlefield scouting. But that's it, she doesn't want to go for that SCV building the command center. She looks to be headed home. Oh, we've got a third gate next to that proxy pylon. That's gonna reduce the warp time of anything warping in that pylon's matrix. GunGFu's got this timed out. All his gates are gonna complete just as warp gate research finishes. Clem has started up stim and a starport. He's producing Marines. Until he finishes that stim, he's at risk of being outranged and out-microed by stalkers. Oh, the Hellions get right inside the natural. Fortunately, there's not a lot there yet. 2 stalkers and an adept are gonna chase him out. Clem's got to start wondering about what's the tech choice for the Protoss. Should he be expecting oracles? A warp prism? An Amway salesperson? It is none of the above. I do want to mention before I forget, Clem is ranked number 4 in the world right now. GunGFuBanDa is number 42. There is a clear favorite today. And his name rhymes with Zen, not Zunzu Zanza. So I really do like GunGFu's plan for surprise and early aggression. He is warping in those stalkers. He's also adding in a very late Twilight Council. So this is not necessarily all in, but he does need to do some damage. But boy, is he bringing the damage dealers. The other reason I really like this is once Clem brings tanks to your door, the game's kind of over. So I see the wisdom in trying to get something done before that happens. And here it comes. He focuses down a Hellion. It is raining laser fire. Clem is caught building a Raven right now. They are awesome, but not what he needs right now. Clem's forced to pull his SCVs to keep himself alive. GunGFu's quite content to kill them. He really wants to hit the Marines, but he'll settle for the SCVs. 2 Stalkers down to their last shred of hit points. They're both gone. Raven drops the auto turrets. Clem's gonna prove me wrong and show the value of that Raven. GunGFu, though, is reinforcing with Stalkers. He's also making a robo behind this. But it's Clem who is adapting like Borg. He's using his tech labs to make Marauders, and he's adding that all-important tank. This Stalker rush has gone well for GunGFu, but it has a shelf life. He's got to be happy with the damage he's done so far, though. He's building a strong worker lead for himself. His tech is delayed, but he might be able to get around that. And speaking of tech, he's started up Blink research. Clem's really adding to that Marauder count. Their damage bonus against Stalkers can really turn the tide here. But so can splash damage from a tank. Sly GunGFu is going to try to see what he can get done while staying out of range. Clem's forced to reposition that tank. He's also forced to repair his command center just to save it. GunGFu with a worker lead of 14, and he's adding a warp prism. But the low ground tank may have locked those Stalkers out for good. Man, this game has opened with a bang. 2 more gates for Protoss. Warp prism is ready. Oh, and I do believe it is rallied all the way to the front. GunGFu's not done. I'm surprised. He can't like his composition so much anymore. The Raven is sneaking off to see if he can get some harass in. Clem hasn't had any offense this game so far. Well, I guess there was that Hellion poke early on. More Stalkers for GunGFu. I think we might find out what Marauders can do to Stalkers. But I guess if you outnumber your opponent enough, composition, smomposition, a lone Stalker's gonna get the bearings on that tank placement. Clem's gonna send out his bio. There's no medevac for them, by the way. Clem has to be careful. Protoss could actually elevate her right into the main here. Or he could just outgun the split Terran forces. Holy Toledo, Clem's gonna lose his army. GunGFu has proven me wrong. This is a great opening for him. He's really getting value out of his Stalker rush. Now Clem has started +1 in his eBay. There are no attack upgrades for Protoss. He is making Zealot legs, interestingly. Oh, he's gonna jump on that tank. Oh, but he discovers a second one on the high ground. Clem decides he needs a bunker just to stay alive at this point. I think he's super vulnerable to backdoor elevator play. Oh, it's a quadruple Zealot warp in. Is GunGFu gonna Zealot bomb that tank? Is this Brood War style coming up here? No, he's gonna find the Marines are wrapped around those tanks. Great positioning by Clem. 11 Stalkers on the field. A big-time supply lead for GunGFu. Protoss goes for a concave. He's gonna eat the tank fire and just see what he can kill. He's rotating his Blink Stalkers for maximum longevity. And then when he can't take the heat anymore, he pulls back. There's a Marauder in that bunker. It's gonna be a tough take for Stalkers. GunGFu once again adding in the Zealots. Clem adding to his tank and Marauder counts. This could progress into a contain for the Protoss. He could change his goal to try to keep Clem trapped on 2 bases. No, he's got his Zealots rushing in. He wants to try to reset the tank count. He gets one of them and blinks out. Oh, Clem could get the Warp Prism. He could get the Warp Prism. No! GunGFu saves it. There is a medevac now for those Stim Marines with Combat Shield, and they're about to have +1. Those aren't your grandma's Marines anymore. Oh, Clem's Raven's been dropping auto turrets, by the way, and just being a general pest of itself. But the real offense is all happening right here, baby. A Zealot-loaded Warp Prism is snuck into the main. Clem has a tank covering the mineral line. It is a Zealot bomb! Clem has to pull back his whole army to defend. GunGFu with the hot pickup. He's trying to get out of there. No! Sharpshooting Clem gets the fully loaded Warp Prism. Technically, a couple Zealots made it out, but since they died before they touched the ground, I'm not sure it matters. GunGFu just warps in his next set of Zealots from his proxy pile. I don't know how, but Clem is somehow only down 7 supply. He's actually got a bigger army right now. GunGFu's got a fully saturated 3rd base, though. I don't know if his goal is actually 3rd denial, but he's kind of achieving it. Or he was until Clem just kind of wiped him out here. There is azure blue blood all over the flagstones. Clem's Raven's gonna see that there's a robo support bay being built. GunGFu's gonna add that much needed splash so he can deal with Clem's bio. Clem is building a command center on the high ground. He's eyeing that 3rd base location. GunGFu's sending another Warp Prism. He's seriously not done with this contain. I don't know though, Clem's Marauder count is getting high. He's just finished concussive shells. And I really do like that he's adding a Viking. That's going to help him deal with that warp prism. GunGfu still has a worker lead of 12. And it's actually worse than it looks, because Clem's forced to oversaturate his bases. He's actually long-distance mining from his future third. Oh, big blink in on the Terran army, but that puts him in tank range. I don't know how efficient that is. But if the real point was that it was a distraction, it worked. 8 zealots are gonna hit the Terran mineral line. Clem's bioforce is being drawn way out of position. GunGfu has to be decisive here. He's only got a few moments to make hay with those zealots. Clem uses the narrowness of the ramp to his advantage, holding off the zealot horde with just a handful of marines. GunGfu's gonna prioritize lowering the tank count. Not only does that make Clem's defense that much harder, oh, it's a recall! That is such a great move, because I do believe the warp prism is under threat from that Viking. He gets the warp prism. A lot more zealots would have died if they'd have tickets on that plane. Clem's got his third up. That is bad news for GunGfu. Thank goodness he has Colossus tech. He doesn't have range for it yet, though. He's working on that, as well as his +2 attack upgrade. Clem's working on his +1 armor, so it's looking like it'll kind of be a wash. Clem's pushing out. GunGfu's looking to counter with a zealot run-by. Knee-blots, as I like to call them. Clem using the acceleration zones to speed his army to the Protoss base. Banda trying to add in those defensive shield batteries. Is he too late though? His money has been allocated to offense. Oh, that high ground tank is going to start blasting his own SCVs. Tanks deal splash damage to allied units, just not direct damage. Oh, that bio's doing direct damage. The Protoss third is in huge trouble. GunGfu uses force fields to split the Terran force. He puts too many on his side and it costs him a Colossus. But he does wipe out the bio. Oh my god, he somehow saved the Nexus. So many times it's like Clem pushes his opponent and it's game over. But GunGFuBanDa's got Archons and Colossus and he was able to defend. He is a bit of a paper tiger at the moment though. Clem's got the bigger army. I was about to say they're also even on bases, but that's not really true. Clem has technically started his fourth, though it's a long way from completion. Clem is attempting a double drop, but that observer spots it. Clem spots that he's spotted, and then shrewdly returns home, so he can't be intercepted. I know it's weird, but sometimes there's more action in something that doesn't happen than something that actually does, if that makes any sense at all. Clem starts his fourth, and he's finishing up his Ghost Academy. The only Templar we've seen have been morphed into Archons so far. But if Storm ever gets researched, there will be Ghosts to deal with them. Clem checks the timing on that fourth. You know you're doing something right when your opponent busts you with a scam. Oh, GunGfu swinging his army to the east. Technically, there's not a lot of defense on that right-hand side of Clem's base. Remember, he's got that range upgrade now for his Colossi. Oh, and just as I thought this game couldn't get any more fun, Banda's adding a Dark Shrine. Oh yeah, he's getting really good pokes in there. The tanks are just too far back. 6 SCV kills just from that. Protoss starts +3 attack. Terran's still on +1. That is just a lot of bio now. Clem doesn't care if he's going to take laser hits. He's just going to kill everything. It might not be efficient, but Clem knows he has to dislodge Protoss from that position. And as I say that, he retreats. Clem's got his tanks moved up now. Protoss can only get so deep. There's that Dark Shrine. Clem's got a plan D. Oh yeah, the defense is set. Protoss is just going to throw away his units. Though it is cool to see Colossus drops. Look at the health on those Protoss units. Just red dots. OMG, GunGfu is going to continue this attack? GunGfu is so aggressive today. No, he's going to swing his units. He's going to move to a new location. Such an interesting game. We're 14 minutes in. Neither player's been able to max out. And we're nowhere near close to a Crimson Zone game. There's no DTs on the map, but that Dark Shrine has gone live. Instead, Protoss is adding a Disruptor and Warp Prism speed. Clem's building up his Ghost count and adding in Vikings to deal with the Colossi. Clem would really like to get his fourth down. GunGfu would really like to prevent it. Let's see how this is gonna play out. There is a DT mixed in there. Oh, he's splitting it off. It's gonna try to cause mischief elsewhere. We'll try to keep an eye on it. Oh, and he's warping in another one. The first one's going for the third. The Protoss 4th base is completely saturated, oversaturated in fact. Can that DT prevent the command center from getting down? No, it's going to try and sneak in. Oh, the DT carnage has begun. The second one's going to try to sneak for the natural. Oh, a ghost spots it, hits it. He decloaks it. For a brief second, you got to see what a DT looks like with its pants down. That is an ultra rare graphic brought to you by Clem. It takes an ace EMP blast to pull that off. Ah, there's not enough Vikings to deal with the Colossi. GunGFu is getting good damage in on the Terran army. Well, he was. Oh, Disruptor going in. Oh, he's going for the mineral line. This is going to be awesome. Or not. Clem denies my joy with his ace micro. I had to zoom in and everything. Would have killed him to put on a show of death and carnage for me. It's almost as though he wants to win this game. And for the moment, he's got Protoss on the run. That same Protoss is putting down a 5th. GunGFu just making sure to stay economically ahead. Clem's gonna pull his depleted army back to defend. GunGFu's gonna go after his expansion. Clem does not want to lose that. That's tactically very important for him. The Colossi is gonna make him pay to defend it. It's a bio-barbecue, a veritable BBB. The command center is down to half. Clem taps out! GunGFu with a major upset. Congrats to GunGFuBanDa. He just took a game off of a major titan. Clem is a player very much on the rise. As you may have guessed, I didn't actually believe GunGFu could or would win this game until he actually did. After he failed to end it in the first 5 minutes, I kind of assumed Clem would inevitably claw his way back into it. For a few moments there, he almost did. But can we talk about what was most important? The decloaked Dark Templar. Because it's the little things in life that are really worth geeking out over. EMP eliminates Cloak, and that's what he really looks like. Which is a really pasty white dude. Because of course, they don't get a lot of sun on Shakuras. Also, he does the splits when he dies. He looks like he's trying to jump into a swimming pool at somebody's frat party. Maybe I'm just bitter because I've lost too many workers to Dark Templars. Or maybe that was just really fun. Anyways, congrats to GunGFu for really keeping the pedal to the metal in this one. Because without it, I just don't know how you beat Clem. So from my base to yours, Zugzwang out. To continue your Starcraft journey, Nova advises you to click the video in the upper rectangle. But Kerrigan warns you to watch your 6 and click the video in the bottom rectangle. Or you can stimpack your Starcraft experience. Subscribe to Zugzwang Starcraft. Just hit the circle. From my base to yours, Zugzwang out.